What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 51. I am your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Woman in a cell?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
And joining us tonight, Mr. Randil Hines.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Welcome.
Yes, no Brett tonight because thunderstorms. He may show up later if they ease off. And as usual, we have a missing British agent.
Oh, shit.
We don't know what the hell's going on with Brian because he's like, I'll be back, and he's never back. So I don't know what
On Twitter every once in a while.
Yeah, talking shit as always. All right, couple of things, house cleaning here. So I want to give a shout out to Ed Dasmuskel, aka Cube Sona from DeviantArt and Tumblr, for winning the MGS code for PS4. And we also have Banana Man, who got the runner-up prize. So yeah, that's the guy's name, man.
No, I love the name, Banana Man.
Yeah, like he get, I know his real name now because we're gonna ship him his shit, but I just want to call him Banana Man. But yeah, this guy, the guy. Okay, last week we said Frank something won. Had to do a retraction on that because we found out my man is 13 years old. So from now on, 18 and older for these contests. We can't be giving away M-rated games on the show. We will get in trouble. It's, no, can't be doing that shit. Manny, we can't hear you, man. You're just yelling into the air. Nope, nothing.
No.
Uh-oh.
I can't hear you.
Man, that was some good stuff he was giving us, too. Yeah, right? No, you're like actually muted now, man.
Now you're actually muted. We should mute some. Okay. No, you're still.
What the
can't
fuck?
hear.
Oh, we're having some technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties.
Hey, dude, just log out and come back in. That'll fix it. I know Manny has some good stuff to say, too. He was all animated. No, we still don't hear you, man. Still don't hear you.
Now.
Yeah, no, Manny, he still has that fire, though. So, yeah, from now on, 18 and over, if we're giving away M-rated games. And this, I'll tell you some shit off here, but, the kid was really cool about it. No, Manny, we still can't hear you. He'll be back. He was really cool about it. He understood the situation, but he was like, man, I really wanted Metal Gear. I understand, buddy, but no, you're too young. Like, no.
Yeah.
So that's why we gave the prize to the next runner-up. There you are.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. I was gonna say. What was I gonna say?
About the kid.
Oh yes. Anything that's an infra-mature game, or for any of the infra-mature games, yes, you have to be 18 years old, 18 or older, or 17 or older, whatever the thing is. But if we have a T for teen game, which we might, definitely, if you're that age, yeah.
But can we just be honest? You really shouldn't be listening to this show if you're like 13.
Well, here's the thing. I think that person specifically, I'm not sure if he actually listens to the show. He is a person that that came onto my Twitter, and asked about it. So
yeah, he came on mine too.
So but I mean when we first posted about it. So there's a good chance he may not exactly be a consistent fan. He just may have wanted to get the game. Who knows? But
yeah, well, I mean, he said he's a fan of ours now, but yeah, about that. But you
get all
types.
So yeah, it's cool. So so he probably got put onto the show for some reason, but wanted to get a copy of the game. Unfortunately, we can't be giving away games like that to younger ages, But that doesn't mean your mom can't buy it for you. And here's the thing, here's the thing. When I was about your age, 13 years old, like the Sega CD came out or something like that. I don't remember what console was out, but all I know is that I was a tall kid and I would go into a store and I buy like M-rated. What was it? M17 games.
Yeah, back in those days.
So yeah.
Yeah, I guess he's not a tall kid.
And I went to see Natural Born Killers alone.
Oh shit!
Don't rub it in, man. We can't give this guy Metal Gear. And you're like, oh, when I was
really sorry about that.
Yeah, things were different in the early '90s, man.
Yeah, nobody cared in those days.
Yeah, nowadays it's different. That's why if this show somehow exists in the early '90s, we probably would give you the game and not give a fuck. But
I feel bad for him, but I don't have a runner-up prize I could give him either, because I could give him the the Siege code, but that's also M-rated. So I sorry, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I kind of wanted to give him something. It's like, all right, I guess get older. We'll give you something. Oh man,
Get older.
We're just totally rubbing it in. Sorry, man.
I'm not rubbing shit. I'm just being honest. But he did understand.
See, that's at least cool. At least he was he understood the situation and wasn't too. No, I'm sure he's a little disappointed about it, but
yeah,
like angry, which is cool. That takes quality, especially in these days where it's like somebody doesn't get exactly what they want and they go into a whole rage.
Yeah, especially with these punk ass kids nowadays, all privileged, So that's good to have one kid that.
So I'm glad, definitely, try to send him something.
Yeah, definitely. All right, and the next item here, but speaking about Metal Gear Solid codes, Manny.
Yes, our good friends at Konami gave us a new code for the PC version for all you master races out there.
Yes.
Who listen to the show. So if you are a person who is interested in the PC version of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, we have it available. And what do we need to do for it?
All right, this one's going to be nice and easy. Just list whatever your favorite Metal Gear game is. Just name it. I don't care what, just name it. That's it. That's it. We'll pick somebody at random, and we'll announce it on Throwdown Your Questions, episode 51.
And you also, the other prerequisite is you have to have a Tegra inside of your PC.
Yeah, Tegra. Okay.
Show us those 4K screenshots.
Yeah, CUDA cores and all that shit, You got to have a Jag-on PC, basically. But, it's simple. Just,
just tell us what your favorite Metal Gear game is, and we'll just throw your name in a hat and and then see what you want.
Yes, and you'll get the Grey Poupon version. Ooh.
You'll get the Master Race.
And the last thing, this one's a little bit of a serious thing. We noticed some madness going on in the comments lately. I'm not talking about the usual kind of madness either. Like, guys were going at.
Uh-oh.
This is the night of problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I froze. Not the usual kind of madness we see in the comments, but guys were like cursing each other out, telling them to go fuck themselves, calling each other assholes. We can't be having that shit, guys. Seriously, we're supposed to have fun here. Vigorous debate or whatever, heated debate is all good. We like that, but don't take any of this shit personal. At the end of the day, none of us take this shit personal. It's fucking video games. We do this shit because it's fun. So just stop with the name calling. Granted, if somebody says something stupid, you could call that thing stupid. You're just being honest, but don't tell guys like you're not getting laid or shit like that. Come on, guys, we don't need that.
Yeah, no, there's no need to take it to those levels. From this point, from the beginning of the show, we've managed to keep, even though our comments get nice and heated, everybody understands that it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
And to start getting into those sorts of things like insulting someone's integrity, insulting themselves or insulting their race or whatever, that's not good.
Yeah, exactly. We're just here for fun, guys. Come on, and there's one specific guy, I'm not gonna name him on air. He's the one that said that, and I had to take him off to the side. I'm like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I understand shit gets crazy in there, but remember, don't take it as personal. It's just words on a screen. That's it. That's all it is.
That's
people.
All you gotta know. One thing you gotta remember, guys, is that as Xbox versus PC or PlayStation versus Xbox, any of those sorts of situations, you gotta remember, in the end, you're playing games and you're playing the games that you want to play. So that's the main thing.
Yeah, exactly. So let's just calm it down a little bit. Obviously, don't go too crazy. Don't start taking this shit personal. Just calm it down. We still want you guys to go at it, but just not with all the madness. That's all. Simple as that. Even the guy who everybody gets mad at, Others Inc., he never gets it personal like that. He may say something that's condescending, but he never gets personal. Because I know people are like, why don't you ban him? I'm like, he hasn't crossed the line yet. That's why. Yeah. I remember, when one other guy, he was saying something about one of our guests, like weight issues. I'm like, dude, don't do that shit. If he says something that is intellectually incorrect, fine, go at him. But physical stuff, you don't do that shit.
Yeah, don't do that.
You know. All right, and that is it. So let's get into the main topic here. One of the reasons I brought my man Randall in here is because we're gonna be talking about a game that's been taking over his life.
Yes.
Metal Gear.
A certain face-eating game.
Yes, Metal Gear Solid
Yes.
5: The Phantom Pain. We're gonna get a little bit more into it, but don't worry, we're not gonna spoil anything.
Yes.
Well, anything that's already been out there in the public, specifically by Konami. Cool. And I say this because my man Mike Madden was on my ass, and you too, man, because he was like, because you said Otacon, right? And you just misspoke. You said Huey Emmerich, and then he was like, that's a spoiler. So I'm like, no, it isn't. You know who Huey
No,
Emmerich is.
he's been in every single. He's been in the first trailer. They show him getting freaking tortured. What's up with that?
Yeah,
So,
but he said he's avoiding trailers. Like, that's not my problem, dude.
Yeah. There's
like,
quite a bit of things that are in the trailers that you could probably consider spoilers. In fact,
Yep.
there's a really big spoiler. I'm not going to even talk about it, but it's out there. It's a certain, the namesake of the game gets revealed in one of the trailers.
oh,
you know.
really?
That.
Yeah, I mean, but again, that stuff we'll stay away from, obviously. But yeah, we're just gonna give our general impression of the game. Just talking about, we already had a kind of cool discussion beforehand. But
Yeah.
Randall, why don't you start us off, man? What do you think of the game so far?
Oh, I love it. I'm on chapter 22. Well, I just finished it, but I still have no idea what's going on in the story yet. So it don't matter to me right now. I put in like 50 hours. Yeah, it's just amazing. The gameplay is awesome. This actually the first open world game that I'm actually having just a ton of fun playing. It's a lot of other open world games that I like, but this one is taking the cake right now.
They get
Yeah,
they get
man.
in they get into that phase where there's nothing to do in the open world game. Like I noticed that in this game there's always a choice of what you can do. It's like, okay, I'm tired of the open world game. Well, now I can do some base stuff.
Yep.
You know,
I spent
like I'm
countless
tired,
hours in
like,
the
okay,
base.
I don't want to push the story forward. All right, I'll do some side ops. In
Yep.
fact, before the show, I was at kind of made my own mission to try to get to the top of the Afghanistan area of the map. There's a bunch of bases that you can see from the map that I haven't been to. So, yeah, lo and behold, something happened while I got up there.
Yeah, it's random. One of the things I want to talk to you about, because I just found your comment funny, like you're actually getting mad that your own hunger pangs are stopping you from playing the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that happened on Sunday. I was playing the game for I don't know how long, and my stomach just hurt, and I'm like, "What's going on?" Then I'm like, "Oh, I haven't eaten all day." I'm like, "Damn, now I gotta get up and eat. I gotta go get something." So I got a little mad about that.
You should have called for a supply drop.
God, I wish.
Yeah, Chris is having issues with fucking Chrome, but Randall was just talking about how he's mad that he had to stop to go eat something because he wants to play the game. But with me, that happens sometimes, but I kind of know when to, like, okay, I think it's time to stop now. But it's pissing. That's the thing that pisses me off. Like, it happens with every game too. I notice, like, every game I get into, it's like I have to piss more than usual, or maybe it just seems that way.
Or maybe you notice it more now.
I think it's like, why am I pissing so much? I want to play, and I'll be holding it for like an hour or two, like, got just one more mission, man.
And another thing, I've been playing. I played WoW for like 2 years straight. And this has never happened to me. And I was hardcore into WoW, 8-hour days, and it was crazy. But it still didn't get me like this game has got me at the moment.
Yeah, it's weird too because, like, and I said this in my review, which you guys should check out. The game doesn't have, like, the actual open world doesn't have a lot of stuff in it, but you still get hooked in it because there's all this other shit you end up doing anyway.
They
like
space things out perfectly. It's not too far between a little outposts or big little sections, so it may seem like it's empty, but you cut across the land so quick, or you could just run instead of Jeep or whatever, cut across, drive up mountains. slide down the mountains in a cardboard box if you want. So you know, you could get around the world pretty quick. And then you got bears everywhere, so
Man,
that
what's up
makes
with
it a
those
little
bears,
fun.
man?
Oh my God, it's like
I
Red Dead Redemption all over again.
already captured like 2 or 3 of them.
I only seen 2. The first one killed me, and the second one was the legendary bear. So I just
Yeah,
shot him in the head with my sniper rifle
Oh.
and ran up and fought him.
yeah. It was funny because at that point I got the bandana that like lessens the chances of you breaking bones and stuff. And I swear, as soon as I put this thing on, this bear arm, the bear runs up here and breaks my arm. I'm like, really?
Wow.
Well, the thing is, it's a bear.
Yeah.
You
So
know,
like, what would have happened if I
my
didn't have the
bandana will
bandana?
protect me from broken bones. It sounds like a silly thing you tell yourself as a kid. Yes.
Hey man, it's Metal Gear though.
No, I've done that too. I've been running. I ran into a bunch of like wolves.
Yeah.
I was
I
doing
just
a
started
mission.
running into
Yeah,
them.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna avoid this outpost. I'm just gonna cut across here. All of a sudden, I hear growling. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, that happened to me. I was sneaking up on the enemy, and the wolf just came out of nowhere. I kicked it. It made that little screeching sound. So I'm thinking the guy heard me, but he didn't. But yeah, it was a couple of wolves that just popped up and out of nowhere.
Also,
And it was nighttime, so it made it worse.
Yeah, that happened to me too, man. Like I remember I was like looking at an outpost and I'm just scoping the place out. And Dee Dee, the dog, he's barking hardcore. I'm like, dude, I see the enemy. What's wrong with you? And I get jumped by a wolf. I'm like, okay, that's what you were barking at. Like, why didn't you attack, you dumbass? You're a wolf too. Manny, were you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, one thing what's really cool about the game is just the kind of like systems in it and seeing them kind of react to each other. Like, in other words, you can have, seeing like the animals kind of react to the people and vice versa. Because it's if you've seen any of that stuff happen, it's pretty awesome too. Or them getting chased off by bears and stuff.
Oh no, I haven't seen that. That's pretty funny.
You could it's a mine or something you can get that attracts wild animals. So you can use that, sneak into a base, use that, and then just run away and watch the animals come in.
It's awesome.
It's also a really good way, I'm sure, to get animals for to actually
for that trophy.
Yeah, for the trophy too.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Because other than that trophy is crazy to get.
What I'm basically just grinding because I need some A-list guys on my team, man. I got all these scrubs that I'm firing because I'm like I don't have enough research level. I need some tranquilizing sniper rifles. I have one, but it's loud, right? I need a silenced one.
That's the one I got.
I can't build a Fulton that can take containers away, so I still don't have that.
Oh man.
And I just I just Fulton everybody. There's a point where I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to deal with you guys. Everybody to Mother Base, and I'll just find you later. Yeah.
I've been picking and choosing a little bit more. Nowadays, when I try to interrogate most everybody so they can get as much information as possible. And a lot of times they'll tell you, oh, there's a really good like specialist over here. And I look at the specialist stats. I'm like,
and they suck. Yeah.
They suck. Then the funny thing is that the guy telling me that there's a specialist that has better stats than the guy he's telling me to go to.
I just had that problem. He's like, there's a specialist here. Then I knock him out. I look at him. I'm like, dude, you have A-level stats. I look at the specialist. I'm like, he's all D's and 1 C. I'm like, how's he a specialist?
Yeah,
I grab everybody.
I grab everyone. But I do like using the Fulton to my advantage too. I'm not talking about just taking stuff. Like, for example, there was one mission, right? And there's several missions like this where it's like, stop the convoy, right? So I see the convoy full of tanks, and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Roll up right in front of them because they stop. And I just Fulton them. Fulton the tank, go up to the next tank, Fulton them, and then Miller's like, that's some lateral thinking, boss. So, yeah, and then there's other situations where I'm like, there's a bunch of tanks coming at me. I'm like, I don't have enough rocket launchers. Let me sneak around them and just pick them up one by one with the Fulton. Worry about that shit later.
One technique that I've seen used, and this is from other things, like instead of just like knocking out like one guy, right? Knocking all the guys out in the car, right? making them stop somewhere, and then
Fulton the whole
Fultoning the whole car.
With everybody.
You can also, to an extent, if you get in the car and have the Fulton on there, you can actually Fulton yourself out and save yourself some GMP.
Really?
From the helicopter.
You got to be fast. Though.
You also have to be pretty fast for it, but also you can do it on containers. So like if you have a container and you have the thing, you can Fulton yourself out on the container and then get back to the helicopter.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Not use as much money, which why can't Snake just use the Fulton
on himself?
Yeah, like why do I have to wait for a dumb helicopter? Why can't I just go? Oh, they're gone.
But I don't understand why every mission doesn't have the hot zone option where I can just ride the horse out of the zone. Every mission should do that, so I don't have to waste money on the helicopter. There's some where you don't have a choice, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you do what Manny said, you're calling the helicopter. It's like, oh, 15,000. Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, and
for the limo ride.
And I've noticed it keeps going up. Like right now, for me, it's almost up to 30,000. I'm like, really, you motherfucker?
Yeah, so, they charging me like 15,000 for ammo.
Here's the thing. Every single time you know, all the things that you add onto yourself costs GMP.
That's why.
You put on your helicopter costs GMP. So what you could do is just like you just remove all the shit that you don't need. It's like, okay, if you know that your helicopter is going to be in a hot zone, okay, yeah, you're going to put some armor or whatever you want to put on.
Oh, that makes sense. I'm going to start doing that shit.
Yeah, take all that other bullshit off. Like, keep this, you know, eventually you get rockets for the damn thing. Keep those on because that gets you to you faster.
Or blow up the air radar satellites in the bases that I found out just randomly.
Yeah, you could blow them up, but the thing is, sometimes they drop you in the middle of the base, so you got to be careful. You know, bring your helicopter. Yeah. I remember I did that for one mission. It was like secure the tank. It was like stop the tank caravan, and it like dropped me in the middle. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll drop in the middle, grab some tanks, whatever. Dude, I didn't even fucking land. They destroyed me. Like, okay, then. Guess I
like what I've been doing is just like I kind of been doing my own missions where it's like. I've been going around the map to all the different locations, the different bases that I've found, and then trying to get all the different items out of it, and then also blowing up any sort of communications, so they don't have any sort of communication between any of them. So now
grabbing little invoices too, so you can ship yourself.
you grab the invoices from the little thing so that you can fast travel to the different use the box to fast travel between the things. See, because I know there's eventually I'm going to be at some sort of power plant, and then there's this big, huge base at the top of the map that I know I'm going to eventually be at too. I want to at least get to those locations, get the little invoices off of them, so that when it comes time to actually get to those missions, because I know there's going to eventually be missions up there, I'll at least be able to fast travel up to those locations. Because sometimes, the other thing is that like when you haven't been to a location yet, you don't get any helicopter locations either.
No, yeah, you don't.
You have to actually have kind of been in the area and surveyed it a little bit in order to actually get the little Diamond Dog helicopter landing zones.
Landing zone confirmed. Chris, what were you gonna say?
Oh, I said I just learned something because I didn't know what those invoices did. I've been taking them and I'm like, okay.
So yeah, when you get what you do is it looks exactly like the one on Mother Base. It's like a little platform, right? It's like a little area.
And I take the paper.
Yeah, you put the box on. You stand there and you put the box on, and then you press triangle or Y, I'm guessing, on the Xbox, and then what it does is it'll give you pull up the map, and then you can kind of teleport to any one of the different places that you've taken invoices from.
Oh, and you can choose.
I learned something.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I do like how the enemies learn though. Like, for example, like I was doing a lot of night missions, and then I come back, and these guys are seeing me from far away. I'm like, how are they doing that? Then they all have night vision.
Or the helmets.
Yeah, they got the helmets and shit. I'm surprised none of them have face masks, because I keep shooting them in the face all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I try to vary, knowing that the game kind of learns. I try to vary the locations of where I shoot them. So sometimes I'll shoot one in the belly. Sometimes I'll shoot them in the leg, just so that I know that they're eventually gonna fall to sleep.
Yeah.
Shoot them in the shoulder. Something like that.
I don't vary anything. I just knock that damn helmet off their head. I'm like, the next shot is going through your head. I'm like,
and then Also, again, if you do a lot of headshots, they tend to block their face before when they're in reflex mode.
You always have to stop a little bit. Randall, were you gonna say you bury
Oh,
what?
I was just saying, sometimes I avoid shooting them in their faces just so I could shoot like 3 of them, and then they all drop once at a time.
Yeah.
Like right back to back to back.
I use that reflex mode to my advantage. So like if I see 3 of them grouped up, I run and I purposely let the things go up and then pop, shoot them in the face. It's perfect.
Yeah. You know what I use now that I never used to use in the old games is a smoke grenade. That thing is very useful now. Like even Big Boss starts coughing if you get in the smoke. Like I'm like, wow, this is so good. I just throw it all the time. I'm like, oh, he might see me. There's smoke grenade.
Yeah, but
I use stun grenades a lot.
Yeah, I saw you saying, but now they wear gas masks.
I still use a lot of old techniques where you just toss the clip to the side and then you just get them.
Yeah, I would do that. The magazine, like making.
I like tossing the decoy.
Oh yeah, it's like a punching bag of big. You ever just knock it around? It just bounces back and forth.
I'm wondering. Here's the thing. I'm wondering. Being that PT's not going to be made, I wonder if the
PT dolls in it.
The PT one is still in there.
Yeah, because I've only seen the boss. Kept you waiting, huh?
Yeah, I'm wondering if the PT version is in there as well. You can have that creepy woman.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That's the thing about this game, though. Like, obviously, past Metal Gear games have been very kind of story heavy and stuff, like long, drawn out fucking cinemas. This one is the opposite. Like, the gameplay is what was the main thing. Like, the cinemas are very small. I don't think I've seen a cinema that was longer than 5 minutes, unless it's like the ending one. Nothing. Even that one is not nearly as long as before. Now, all that happens in the game or in tapes and stuff. You got to listen to a lot of tapes in this game.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been using the app to kind of listen to the tapes.
Hey, I want to ask you guys something.
Oh, what's up?
Does your PlayStation fan goes off every time you listen to the tape?
Yes.
Mine, I don't know why. I'm like, it's just audio. Why the hell is my PlayStation like heating up? Like, what? I'm like, just listening to the tape.
In general, this game.
Do you have?
Yeah, I would say mine go off just off general of playing it.
Yeah, playing it, it's like blowing. But when I'm in the chopper and I play a tape just to get the story, it really starts blowing.
That's
and
crazy.
I don't know why.
Oh, so many use the app to listen to those? That's actually pretty smart.
I use the app because sometimes I've been wanting to listen to the tapes and I'm working. I'm like, I still want to get the story stuff, so I'll pull up the app. Or the other version is that I could just turn on my my Vita, and do it that way. I still haven't tried remote play with it, but so far whatever games have used remote play have done optimized pretty well. Like I was playing Bloodborne with it, so hopefully it'll.
Yeah, I played Far Cry 4 with remote play, and it worked really well.
Yeah. So, I'm going to talk about something I discovered last night. So apparently because not every soldier, but a lot of soldiers have like a specific trait about them, right? Mm-hmm. I have these guys. Manny was telling me about this. I have these guys called troublemakers, right?
Yes.
And they all cause different things. Like some guy causes PTSD, another guy causes fights, another guy is smelly and he causes So my thing was because they just open up FOB, right? And you need a security detail. So I sent all my shitty guys, all my troublemakers to the thing, and now they're fighting and killing each other. It's like, what the fuck? And then I find out, I'm like, wait a minute, how come I'm having more problems now than I did before? Then I realized that there's also diplomats in there, and I'm like, oh, those guys are keeping the peace. So it's all this weird meta game stuff going on under the hood.
You never needed to deal with anything like that in Peace Walker. I mean, other than maybe the morale of the base being low, and then people start getting sick a little bit more often, or having a good medical medical team. Then you can actually do stuff like that.
And the kitchen staff, remember those?
Yeah, that was a big one. You keep the food high, everybody's happy.
They don't have that, but you see, talking about that, I like how in this game to keep everyone happy, you got to go to the base, not only so they can salute you, but you got to beat the shit out of them, and they get happy about that.
Yeah. You ever what I also tend to do is I also interrogate them. because
Yeah, they
they
like
also
that.
Yeah,
they
favorite
also
diamonds and
they
stuff. Is that.
they also because they will tell you where the rough diamonds are, because apparently half the guys on the fucking base are stealing your goddamn diamonds and
Yeah.
hiding them in the damn base.
I thought that was hilarious. The guy's like, I hit a rough diamond. I'm like, what?
Like, that's my
Like,
shit.
you son of a
motherfucker.
bitch, stop stealing.
But yeah,
I'm like, you hit it on the base. Okay.
But yeah, that thing with the troublemakers pissed me off. I was like, you motherfucker! I invited you to my house and you causing shit. What the fuck is this shit?
Yeah,
You know?
I start to see that now. Like, I'm doing a mission, all of a sudden the iDroid pops up. 2 guys in sick bay, somebody's in the brig. I'm like, fucking kids. I'm busy.
I get rid of all the guys that I go through each tab and all the guys that said causes something like troublemakers. I just dismiss them.
Yeah, I'm about to do that.
When I'm on the missions, I don't have to see guys went to the brig because they was fighting.
See, the thing is with me, I don't mind them going to break, but I literally see one staff member died from injuries. I'm like, what the fuck?
It never got that serious, but me, yeah.
There is and there's also guys that cause PTSD. They're abusive, and it says like abusive or troublemaker, and it says causes PTSD, and that's how I figured it out. It's like I saw 2 people in the hospital. Miller's like, yeah, well, I created this hospital area for these guys because they got something happen, and I'm like, what the hell happened? I look at their stats, and it says PTSD. I'm like, and then I look at where they came from because I looked at where their highest stats were, and I'm like, I look through there, and I look at this one guy. I'm like, what the fuck? He causes PTSD. Get the hell out of here.
You're fired.
You're fired. It doesn't do that. It doesn't do that in this one.
I spent hours searching through that, like their skills and stuff.
Yeah.
You spend because I kidnapped so many guys that I gotta search through all of them all the time.
There is a way to kind of organize them so where you kind of lump them together with their strongest abilities. Because Miller, as soon as you get a guy, Miller assigns them. So you don't really have anybody in the waiting room. The only time you'll ever have anybody in the waiting room is if there's an abundance of people in all the units.
Yeah, my waiting room is full.
Yeah.
Yeah, the annoying thing is like the security detail, they don't, because what I used to do was I used to hit R3 and it would assign them automatically.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I don't need to worry about it, but now I do have to worry about that because as soon as I do that, everybody from my security team gets put around everywhere else, and it goes down to level 0 for security. I'm like, shit, I have to manually adjust these idiots. Because the thing is, you need to have a certain level for security to build some shit. Like with D Walker, the robot, you got to build his head, with these guys at level 20. So like, okay, I got to keep these idiots around. As soon as I build that, by the way, I'm getting rid of all those troublemakers, man.
That's exactly what I do.
Throwing their asses in the sea.
Get to the waiting time.
Can you take it? Have you tried throwing them in the sea?
That'd be funny. I want to do it. I'm like, okay, off to the sea with you guys.
I accidentally, this guy said, trade with me, boss, and I did the CPC. I punched him. He fell off. There was this depression in the command base. He fell in it and died, and it gave me a game over.
Yeah. Oh wow.
You can't kill, so don't kill anybody on your base. Like I didn't think about it. I was like, oh shit, he fell, and then it's like, boss, what are you doing? It's like, oh,
what? What are you talking about?
You know how in the beginning, they actually tell you to beat up guys on the base and Fulton them and stuff, to teach you the tutorial. So maybe like 10 hours after that, I saw one guy walking around. He had really good stats. I'm like, okay, let me do that again. Why not? I beat him up. I Fulton him. It's like, boss, what are you doing? And I get a game over. I'm like, okay, I guess I can only do that in the beginning section.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, what else do I want to talk about with this game? There's a bunch of shit. We're purposely skipping story stuff.
Yeah, we're not. We're gonna try. We're as much as possible try not to talk about any sort of story elements.
Okay.
That'll be for wink wink spoiler alert.
That'll be for a spoiler alert, and I still want to see if we can get Young back for that one.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, gameplay stuff because there's so much fucking gameplay for this. Randall, what were you gonna say?
I was saying one thing I want to say is I love how you can do a mission completely different than somebody else. Like, one mission in specific on number 16. I spent hours because it's a caravan. You got a fault in this truck, and then you got somebody protecting it.
Man, I know that mission.
I'm up here following a trail. So then I go ahead of them and I'm setting up bombs in the road and decoys and all of this and that. And I spent like 2 hours on this mission. I keep failing. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to go to where they first started. Go there, they're at the airport just sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
So then I go blow up the tanks. Mission over. You know, I made it way harder than I had to be.
Yeah, that's funny. I do need to say about that specific mission because that's one of the missions that, and you people saw me on Twitter raging about this. That's one of those repeat missions, right? So I was like, fuck this. I did this shit already. I'm going to go on YouTube and figure out how to do it. So this is the way you do it. You go to the airport. The truck is literally right there.
Yep.
You Fulton that shit, and then, something happens. You run out of the zone, and you beat the thing. That's it.
That's exactly what I ended up doing. But I didn't know about the YouTube, but that's how I be figuring stuff out. I spend a whole bunch of time on it, and then
trial and error.
Yep. Or if the mission, if my stealth breaks down, and I gotta kill everybody.
Yep.
Or
that happens.
Put everybody to sleep when I got quiet, and her tranquilize like a sniper.
Oh, forget about it.
After that.
Yeah, that's
what happens with me with missions is like, because I don't have a good enough amount of tranquilizer rounds. So sometimes what happens is I'll just, I hate calling for friggin' waiting for the stupid supply drops. So what I'll do is I'll just start holding up people. Just like, hands up.
Yeah, I found that that's quicker also to interrogate them.
It doesn't wear off.
And then fold them up.
The only time it ever wears off is if you get into alert and then they all wake up instantly. But if before that, you don't need to worry about it. You can literally take over a whole base. Literally get everybody in the base, and then that's it. And they'll all stay there like that.
Yeah, just tell them to stay down. You don't even have to shoot them. Which is good. I want to talk about the just
I didn't know you could leave them there.
Yep, you can leave them there. They will not get up unless somebody comes to them or the base is on alert. They'll just stay down the whole time. I want to talk about the buddy system because I think it's interesting because usually Metal Gear, you're playing the game by yourself and stuff, but I don't think the buddies really get in the way of that. They're more like an extra tool for you to use. D-Dog is the shit. This dude finds everybody, man.
And everything.
Yep, everything.
You was talking about the fire resources or something like that.
Yeah, it's yo, my man, they got weapons over there, man. Yeah, and Quiet, obviously, it's like, I use her as a diversion. It's like, okay, I need to sneak in here, start shooting these motherfuckers so I can sneak in. And she has got good accuracy, too, which is awesome. Popping everybody off. The only one I don't use too much is the horse, because the horse doesn't do anything but just get you places.
Shit on the ground.
You can leave shit on the ground, which is useful. Because apparently the cars, if they drive over it, they start slipping.
They skid out of control, and then everybody gets stunned in the car from being twirled around. So then what you can do is what you could do after that is you can Fulton them and the vehicle all out.
Yeah, and then the D-Walker, I'm starting to use him, even though
I haven't used him yet.
It pisses me off that you could have a clean version of him, but if you want to put cool stripes on him or any other camo pattern, he still is rusty as shit. I'm like, you piece of crap! Somebody clean this stupid robot up, But he's pretty fun. But I want to upgrade him fully because you could get him to scan everything too, and apparently you could set him up so he could actually start attacking autonomously. So I want to try that out, but I gotta get my security up, which I don't like the security fucking assholes. I don't like the FOB shit. I don't like. I don't like the fact that I'm sleeping and my fucking base gets invaded. It's like I can't do anything about this shit.
Well, that's part of the, that's pretty but it doesn't matter if you're online or offline.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Once you've set up a FOB, that's it. It's there for anybody to come after.
But if you don't go back into online mode, if somebody stole some of your resources, it doesn't affect your single player, right?
No, unless you log back on again.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
And they also only steal stuff directly for the forward operation base. So any of those guys that you put on there, any of the security team that you put on there, they can steal those guys. But like Tony had a bunch of guys with PTSD and freaking a bunch of troublemakers.
Take those guys.
Take those guys.
But no, but the thing is that every time you come back into the game, no matter every single time, it will log you back in, no matter what. So you don't even have to, unless you like unplug your PlayStation from the internet or something. There's no way to avoid it. It sucks, but the thing is, you need that FOB, especially in the beginning, to expand your base a little bit. Because I was having a point where I'm like, man, there's no more room now. Shit, man. You know, I'm dismissing guys left and right, but as soon as I got FOB, it's like, okay, I can breathe now.
You can also buy 4 operation bases in other regions too.
Yeah, with money.
Yes.
I am happy that
which by the way, some of the rewards that they give you is those mother base coins.
Yeah, sometimes, or they give you fucking plants and shit. That's what I usually get.
They like last few times they gave me like 2 times in a row they gave me mother base coins. So eventually, I guess you'll have enough to get one. Maybe you want to put one in Japan.
In Japan.
I am happy that they didn't introduce the FOB stuff at the beginning of the game, because I would have been super confused. It was already enough stuff at the beginning.
I think they do a really good job of kind of slowly but surely giving you new things.
Yeah, they do a good job.
I'm up to like I'm up like to episode 12 or 11 or something like that, right? And still I'm getting new things, and it definitely feels like a general good way of progression for the game, so that you still feel like there's something happening.
As opposed to you understand one thing, then they give you a little.
Yeah, they give you a little bit
more,
else.
and then you event. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm above 90 hours now, and I'm still finding new shit. You know, so there's always something there to keep coming, making you come back. Yeah. But like I said, right now I just want to build shit. Like right now I'm focusing on the robot, and then I'm going to make another task for myself. Actually, my first task is to build up the robot, and then the second task is to get rid of all those troublemakers. Fuck those guys. I need them now so they can build my robot for me. And I also need the video surveillance specialist, because there are specialists out there. Even if they have shitty stats, they're good at one specific thing, and you need them to build you weapons and stuff. But yeah, that's what I like about this game. It's essentially Peace Walker, just big.
Yeah.
And Peace Walker.
It's the big boy version of Peace Walker. Yeah. Officially, the Peace Walker was a T for teen game.
Monster Hunter.
Well, I was actually reading up on Kojima's theory behind, making part of the reason why he made that game. Is he said he had saw it wasn't exactly Monster Hunter, but it was that his son was playing one of the Pokemon games, and he didn't understand why this kid would, his son would play these games until, over and over and over again, and then he realized then he actually played it, and then he's like, yeah, this is actually kind of an interesting idea to kind of try out. So his idea, for Peace Walker came from that.
Interesting.
And also, Peace Walker was not supposed to be a game that was developed by him.
Yeah, it wasn't. He came on. I read that he came on because he realized that the guys that were writing the game, they were too young to understand the whole Cold War thing. So he was like, okay, I need to get in here and do this.
Yeah.
Because some of them, they were asking him a lot of questions that they didn't know about because they're too young. And he's like, okay, I'll handle this.
Let me handle this. See, here's an interesting thing though. Like now, I mean, I guess I don't know how many of the people are going to be left when he leaves, but I'm sure he's going to take a good chunk of them. But now they have the freedom to kind of create their own Metal Gear, not based off of his Metal Gear exactly.
Yeah, like I said, I personally want them to just reboot the whole thing, just start over.
Yeah.
Because
it's definitely going to be a hard battle with those guys because it's like Metal Gear is Solid Snake or in general. We've seen what happens when you throw another guy in there.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said, I'm pretty sure David Hayter's gonna be back.
Yeah, and I think I've always said that. Like when I heard this, I said the first thing they're gonna do is they're just gonna hire David Hayter back.
Yeah, but because I beat the game and I'm like, yeah, if this is the final Metal Gear ever, I'm perfectly happy with that. That's fine, no problems at all. Because there's just so much. The game's really good. Like there are, if you read my reviews, a couple of things I didn't like. I didn't like the fact that the story kind of gets stopped every other chapter for some filler shit in the second half, and I kind of wish the cinemas were a little longer, just to explain some things because there's a lot going on. You got to listen to tapes all the time. But yeah, overall, I won't say it's the best Metal Gear because that's still Snake Eater, obviously. But gameplay-wise, is probably the best Metal Gear because there's just so much to do, you know.
I still say Metal Gear Solid 2, but
well, hey, you know what? Manny and I were talking about this last night. Like everyone gets so hung up on the story and stuff of Metal Gear Solid 2. It's like the actual game was fucking great. There was so much variety to it. Like there was swimming in it. There was ninja battles. There was all this crazy shit.
There was birds that crap on the base, and then if you run over it, you slip and fall.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I love it because that was the one when Kojima said, "The series is about to get crazy." And are you along for it or not?
Yeah, basically that's the dividing thing.
Well, I mean, that game is also, it's kind of like it's a little bit of a, you know, like people have kind of analyzed it and they kind of see it like this, where it's kind of like he's kind of making like an anti-sequel. It's doing everything that you wouldn't do with a sequel, where it's like you have, and it's maybe a comment on gamers and, you know, in games in general.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because essentially, what is Raiden? Raiden's a gamer.
Yeah.
He'd been playing like, well, what is it, over 1 million hours of virtual reality. So he's essentially a gamer.
Yeah, like Raiden's supposed to be us, you know, basically. And then even in the end, he's like, "Oh, you've been fooled. You know, you're just simulating this stuff. You know, you don't have any actual experience."
Mm-hmm.
All this other shit. That game's very, very meta, and this game has some of that stuff too. I won't say anything, but it has some of that stuff too, where Kojima is kind of questioning, you know, like what a game really is. You know, so it's very cool. And again, we'll talk about that on spoiler because it's very interesting. But you know, again, this game has a lot of meaning in it, which is cool. I'm pretty sure I haven't even gotten half of it yet. It's just really great. So yeah, I'm pretty sure we'll all be playing this for the rest of the year for sure.
Yes, and then eventually
Mario Maker tomorrow. That's not happening.
I
all the games in October. I might just push those off.
I really want to get Tearaway, and I already have Tearaway for the Vita. It's a really great platformer for the Vita, but I really want to play the you know, the one for PlayStation 4.
I was interested in it. I never ended up picking it up.
Yeah, I'll get Tearaway eventually.
Right, Mario Maker one day.
Yeah, you'll get it one day. But yeah, right now Metal Gear is my life. And what's cool about Metal Gear, you could, you know, it's funny because you could play for like 1 million hours, or you could just play for 40 minutes, like I did earlier before the show. You know, you just do a couple side ops and you're done.
Do a side op or one mission, and then you get good for a little while.
Yeah, I'm gonna do what I did with Peace Walker, just play a little bit of it every day, and then I'll eventually complete it.
I'm gonna try to cut down on it a little because I don't want to get burned out of it.
Because life gets in the way, man. He said, I'm eventually gonna have to play other games too. It's like, okay, I guess, you know, but I'll
I'm
just.
So happy my wife was like, just go play.
Yeah, good.
I'll leave you alone for a little while. Just enjoy it.
I was about to ask you, you know, about your wife, but I'm glad she understands, man.
She's doing great now. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's good to hear, man. Because you know we were thinking about her too. So, and yeah, that's a good woman. She's like, go play a game, baby. It's all good. That's awesome. All right, so let's move on here. So the next thing, so PlayStation, the original PlayStation had its 20th anniversary. Let's talk about the PlayStation real quick.
PlayStation.
I know some guys don't want us to talk about PlayStation.
You know, man, were you gonna not talk about a PlayStation on the anniversary? You know, what's up with that?
Yeah, but it's like, come on, guys. And I'm talking as a guy who hated the original PlayStation. I know some guys like Tony, but you're a Sony pony, not back in the day.
Not when we were kids, man.
Yeah, man. Like I didn't officially join the PlayStation, you know, like our family until PS3, even PS2. I'm like, man, like I just like it was like a side bitch, like you fuck just to get your dick wet, but you don't like her, you know. You just use her for what she has.
He literally dreaded having the damn console in his house.
Yeah,
he's like, oh man, he's like, I feel like I'm betrayed. I'm like, dude, you have no other choice. What Sega thing are you gonna get? Sega's done.
Yeah, because remember, Manny, I told you this too. When Sega Dreamcast, I'm like, am I just gonna stop gaming now? Like, there was like that. See, that's fanboy shit. That's real fanboy shit.
Where he literally had to question whether or not he was actually gonna continue to play video games.
Yeah, because like dudes call me a fanboy, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'll get an Xbox if I had money. Sure, why the fuck not? I'll buy a Wii. I don't give a fuck. But back then, I'm like, don't have that shit in my home. Keep it away from me. That is real fanboy shit.
It's weird. I never even knew about fanboys until the PS3 and 360 era. During that time, all my cousins, we would get together and be like, you get the Super Nintendo, I'm gonna get the Genesis,
Yeah.
and my other set of cousins, y'all get whatever y'all want, and we just share games. You know, you give me your console for a day or a weekend, I give you mine, and just
Yeah.
go to each other's houses and stuff like that.
See, man,
And
that's
when
real gaming right
PlayStation
there,
came
man.
out, it was like my cousin, he was an older cousin, and he kept it like a secret, like he didn't want nobody to have it. But he had Resident Evil. That was the first game I seen. I was like, I gotta play that. And then he had Tekken, and then PlayStation friend from there.
This is how much of like how married to Sega he was. Tony was. When Resident Evil came out, like we went. There used to be this video game store called
CPS, man.
CPS, right? And they had the Japanese version. I'm like looking at this thing. We're standing there. I'm looking at. Oh my god, that game looks so cool. And he's just like, eh.
I had to put up a front because in the inside I'm like, man, that shit looks good, but I gotta keep it
like,
front. And then when I was like, yeah, it's coming to Saturn, and then I got the Saturn version, and in the inside I'm like, man, this shit don't look as good as that PS version.
No, like everything for some reason on the Saturn version, everything was extra blocky. Like everything was more blocky than the other one.
It didn't have any lighting or anything because the Saturn wasn't built to do 3D stuff.
No.
It was just thrown in later on, because PlayStation would come in out. It's like, and that was okay. Let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about how the PlayStation came to be because it actually came out from the ashes of the Nintendo CD. Chris, you probably know about that. Like, how did that go down?
And Nintendo wanted a CD add-on for Super Nintendo. They wanted Super Nintendo CD, so they made a deal with Sony. But right as that, I don't know if I think it was that Space World that year, and Sony has like, hey, we made the Super Nintendo add-on, and they called it the PlayStation, right? And they showed it right there. Nintendo realized that Sony, I think they cut the deal because they realized Sony was going to get a profit, like a percentage of each game. That was the deal that they had signed.
Yeah.
So they didn't like that at all. So they made a separate deal with Philips and announced that deal right as Sony announced that they had made this thing, right? So they completely screwed them. So Sony took that and made the PlayStation out of it. Like what they had, all the research and all the things they developed for Nintendo, they went and developed a full console out of it. So yeah, like you said, out of the ashes of a bad deal with Nintendo, the PlayStation was born.
Yeah.
I just find it funny that there's a couple ways. So basically, one, I'm glad that happened because imagine if this deal went through, the PlayStation wouldn't have gone as far as it would have. When Nintendo's, holding it down, that wouldn't have worked. And then the other thing is like, man, Nintendo, you fucked up, man. You fucked up bad, dude.
It also explains a couple of things about the PlayStation too. Like in general, like the controllers look very similar to the Super Nintendo. Entertainment system controller.
The console itself looked like a Super Nintendo.
It almost looks like it could be a Nintendo product. So, I mean, that could all just be stuff that was just left over from different things. Who knows?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we had 3D graphics before. Like Star Fox was probably the first game I saw that had like polygon graphics.
Mm-hmm.
That was on Super Nintendo, but PlayStation was the first one. I remember for the first year or two, like they actually had a company mandate, no 2D games at all. Everything had to be 3D because they wanted to push that.
Even though one of the big games from the launch of the PlayStation 1 was the Mortal Kombat 3.
Yeah, ironically enough, right? Even that was a total 2D game. But yeah, that was like a company mandate. It's like everything had to be 3D. And I remember the PlayStation was probably the first system that kind of started making games popular outside of like gamers and kids. Like they were marketing it towards teenagers now. You remember those commercials? Like it was cool. Like you wanted to be a cool guy. Like you had to get a place, and the other thing was they didn't even market it as that. It was like live in your world, play in ours. So they weren't telling you like, okay, you got to devote your entire life to this. They're saying, hey, do your thing, do what you normally do, but you play a game, you come with us. So they definitely marketed it to a different audience, and that expanded gaming. And then obviously the graphics, I mean, if you look at them now, they look really like crappy and stuff, but back then that was revolutionary, and people were like, okay, what's that? I need to play this. This is fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That changed the whole landscape, obviously. Even till today, if it wasn't PlayStation, we wouldn't get any of this shit that we have now. It started all, and like you said, we had CD technology already, but that just brought it more into the front. the problem was, and this is the main reason I didn't buy it. Besides the fact that I'm like, this is a company that makes a Walkman. I'm not buying this shit. All the they didn't do 2D games very well. Like all the Capcom games were kind of on that.
Well, it's because the console was built with inferior RAM. In fact, that was the one thing that the Sega Saturn had over the PlayStation, because it was meant to be an at-home console, like an at home arcade machine.
Exactly. Yeah. It was meant to be the ultimate 2D machine, basically.
Yeah. So essentially,
it was.
all those really great fighting games and all that other stuff, they were all supposed to come out on the Saturn. But then they saw what Sony was doing and they said, "Oh, quick! Make sure Virtua Fighter runs on it."
Well, also something that helped the PlayStation when Sony pushed it forward and finished it and brought it out. Nintendo also broke the deal with Philips, right? They ended that deal. They didn't want a CD system because I guess Miyamoto and these other guys thought that disc-based things and load times were too slow. So what did they do? They progressed with cartridge systems and went to N64, and that I think helped Sony a lot because here you had a CD, you could have full music tracks, and on FMVs and all this stuff, and N64 couldn't do that. Well, N64 had some great games on it. Like Sony really had a presentation. You ever play Resident Evil 2 on N64? It has like the worst music I've ever heard. It's horrible. Like it didn't have a lot of storage, right? But this did. So that helped Sony a lot at that point, right? And even if you have multi-disc games like Metal Gear multi-disc, like Final Fantasy VII, all that stuff, so you could have bigger games.
Yeah, it's just funny how Nintendo wanted to keep the industry back. It's very interesting. I don't know, Nintendo. Anyway, Chris, how did you get a PlayStation? Let's find that out.
How did I get a PlayStation? Well, I remember when it came out, I saw, what did I see? I mean, they had Crash Bandicoot and some other stuff, and I think I had gotten one when I after my freshman year. I was like, man, this looks cool, and I went and picked one up, and then I think at the time I'd also had N64, and I remember a couple of years later, like Dreamcast happened, right? And I was not loving the N64 at all. I was just like completely disappointed. I had like Turok. I thought that game was shit. Castlevania 64 was shit. I was like, I had not made it all the way to like Ocarina of Time or all those games. I played those later. But when Dreamcast came out, like I took that shit to Funko Land and I got a Dreamcast. So I had a PlayStation and a Dreamcast. I was like, yes, I am firmly in the future now. Like disc-based is the way to go, and I never look back. Like I think what really attracted me though was the platform. It was like I had liked Crash Bandicoot and I'd liked some other stuff on PS1 like Siphon Filter and all that stuff. So that's what got me into it. And then Metal Gear came out and that really blew my mind. It was like watching a movie. Like when I saw the first cinema, I was like, maybe I should make some popcorn. I was like, how long does this go on for? I'd never seen anything like that. Never. Where you were just watching like a movie, right, in the middle of your game.
Yeah, that game for me was ridiculous. I mean, Manny, you were like, dude, you need to see this, and I came over, I'm like, whoa, this is pretty fucking cool.
And I know, and the thing about it is, like, at least for me, like being like an old school Metal Gear fan, it's like, oh, it's finally back, because I mean, I was a fan of the game ever since the original Nintendo.
You were waiting since 1988, basically.
I've been waiting since 1988 for the next Metal Gear game, because of course, back in those days there was no real internet stuff, so you didn't know that there was actually a sequel to Metal Gear, called Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. The only one I knew was that shit Snake's Revenge, and I knew that wasn't made by whoever made the original game was not the same guy who made that Snake's Revenge game.
Well, Another thing though, to its credit, like the games on PlayStation had voice acting, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Metal Gear had quality voice acting.
Yes.
Like, Resident Evil was like a joke. Like even back then, you were like, "Wow, this is like hammy, corny acting going on in here," And then you get Metal Gear, and they were serious. I was like, "Oh, this is awesome."
Yeah, that's the thing for me too, because you're right. The standard was Resident Evil, believe it or not. So you hear Metal Gear, it's like, oh shit! Like,
I think
this is serious.
the biggest change that happened with that game, as opposed to a lot of the other games, like why it stood out so much, is the fact that they had the foresight to go with a company that usually, people they got a voiceover person who actually said, listen, to direct voiceovers. It's like, listen, why don't we get a bunch of people from animation, like people who do cartoons?
Yeah.
So a lot of the people that are in those, that's why there's a lot of crossover between animation and video games, because a lot of those people were already doing it. We were talking about, because I'm going to be going to this convention called RetroCon in Philadelphia, and they have the voice of they're going to have the voice of Psycho Mantis there. Now, the voice of Psycho Mantis, not only did he play Psycho Mantis, but he also played a bunch of other characters. He was in a show called Mask, and he was also on G.I. Joe. So that's where a lot of those guys come from.
Yeah, no, that was cool, and I think the storytelling that Metal Gear did was way different. Like everybody who was making PlayStation games either tried to make CG cutscenes, which now they haven't aged well. Like if you go back and
they have not
play some of those games, like they haven't aged well. And then Resident Evil just used live actors, right, which looked odd because it shifts from that to the game, and it's just this stark contrast. It's like, why did they even film that? But back then you thought it was cool that you actually had any type of movie in your game. But Metal Gear did it right. It was consistent throughout, and it was like carefully used game stuff and the codec screens, and that was neat. It was all consistent, like in the same thing. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah, you're right about that, because I was like, everything was in game, and it was obviously, look at it now, it looks kind of but back then it was like, these graphics look fucking crazy. You know what I like about Metal Gear 1? Actually, that's probably the game that looks the most Shinkawa-esque out of all of them.
Yeah, it has because it's very simplified. Like his work is very much on like shapes, creating shapes with a lot of the characters. There is in fact an old version of like an old test model of the game where they actually made it even look more like have all the blacks and everything on it.
That's pretty cool. Manny, what about you? PlayStation story.
Oh, for me, I didn't buy the PlayStation when it first came out. My cousin did. So I used to, Adam, and he used to play. I used to go over to his place and play it. It wasn't until I don't know how many a while later, but I know that when I first bought it, there was enough reasons for me to get it. It might have been for Metal Gear. I don't remember. I might have bought it before, like maybe before. No, it was actually. I think I bought it before Final Fantasy VII. So that I don't know.
You did,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it was around then because I know I was playing that before. Well, so, and I remember like just going through and getting all the games that I really wanted for like Darkstalkers and the original Resident Evil in those big goofy boxes that they used to have.
Yeah, remember that shit?
Big black boxes that they used to have for the CDs. So and it was just really. I mean, initially I was a 3DO man, and I went from 3DO to PlayStation. And in fact, some of the games that were for 3DO came out for PlayStation, like a game called Return Fire, which is a really kind of cool capture the flag type of game, and a bunch of other ones. That's the 3DO is kind of where where EA kind of honed its skills at making other types of games, because they made a lot of games for it, and also Crystal Dynamics too. They did a lot of games for 3DO. So a lot of that when the PlayStation came out, they already were working with CD-based systems and hiring actors and all kinds of other stuff. So that's why their games were kind of really pretty cool.
They cut their teeth on this.
I remember something. I had the opposite story of you, because when I had Genesis, right, I had bought all the add-ons, right. I had Sega CD 32X. I was so pissed about the Saturn.
Yeah.
I passed on the Saturn. Like, I had spent all this money upgrading the fucking Genesis, and then a month after, or 2 months after 32X came out, they announced the Saturn. I was like, fuck you, Sega.
Yeah, so, that's exactly what happened to me. Same here.
So when PlayStation happened, that's where my allegiance went. I was like, okay, I'm getting that. I was like, I saw the stuff, I'm getting that. Like, I skipped Saturn because of that. I was so mad, but I forgave him with Dreamcast, and then I got sad again. But well, yeah, I was pissed about Saturn. I remember that. I was like, "Fuck! What was the point of this?"
Yeah, you spend. I mean, the thing that was an issue where, like, like Sega of America was developing the 32X, but
Yeah,
also
Japan
they wanted to
had nothing
continue
do with it.
they wanted to continue to support the Genesis because it was still doing really well even at that point in time. But Sega Japan was like, no, 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 no. We're creating this big thing, this super console.
I know the 32X was such a waste. It was
If
such a waste.
Yeah, it really was.
No.
It did not need to exist at all.
I felt so dumb having that thing.
Dude,
That's why I was mad.
Yeah, I only had 2 games for that shit. I had Doom and I had some fucking Sonic. Not even Sonic. It was a Knuckles game.
Knuckles Chaotic. That was actually a really good game.
Yeah, but yeah, it was good. But that was like it.
That's
basically.
the one. That's the one where they're connected by the rings. They had
Yeah.
you could switch between the 2 characters.
The other thing, Chris, I want to ask you this because you know how disappointed you were with Castlevania 64. You must have been elated with Symphony of the Night, though.
Oh my God, that game was amazing. I couldn't believe it. Like I couldn't believe it that like Symphony of the Night was like one of those games where you're like, oh my God, this is so good. Like it was just so well done. Like it was just like a filet mignon dinner at Peter Luger's. You're like, oh, so good. Like I wish I could afford to eat like this every night. You know, it was so good. And yeah, when you get to Castlevania 64, that's like I don't know, a burnt omelet at Denny's. I don't know. I was like, what the hell happened? I had filet mignon just the other night.
Yeah, I remember that game, 64.
Let's get into what are some of the best games for PS. Obviously, we talk about Metal Gear. The other big one, Final Fantasy VII. That was the game that made me interested in RPGs. Remember how I was before, man? With RPGs.
No, again, another one of those things like fuck RPGs. I don't want to play no game where you don't actually control a character. Fuck this.
Yeah, and then I saw Final Fantasy. I'm like, oh. And then they didn't have that for Saturn, so I'm like, okay, let me just buy Shining the Holy Ark, I guess. So yeah, that game was obviously big one right there. Very influenced by Resident. Yeah, fucking Final Fantasy VII was actually very influenced by Resident Evil. A lot of people don't know that the way the game was set up and stuff with the not the CG, but the what they call pre-rendered backgrounds and stuff. Yeah. That all came from Resident Evil. Crash Bandicoot was another one. I didn't like that game. Even when I played it later, I'm like, I don't know.
I love Crash. All 3 of them. I didn't care for the racing game though.
Yeah. What else?
I had.
What else did you have?
Let's see. Back then, Spyro was pretty good.
Yeah, Spyro.
Driver. I don't know if you remember that.
Driver, I remember Driver.
Yeah.
You hated Driver.
Yeah, I didn't like Driver. Yeah.
You know what was good? What was an interesting type of interface I'd never seen before was Parasite Eve. Like how that game played.
That was also a really good game.
That was a good game.
I like Dino Cross.
Dino Crisis.
Dino Crisis, yeah.
Yeah, cause that was like Resident Evil with dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
Resident Dinosaur.
Resident Evil 2, obviously, that was a big one back then.
Yeah, that was also a really great one. I used to love. I mean, despite all the, because Tony would always make fun of me about the fighting games, but I was a huge fighting game fan in those days, and I had Marvel vs. Capcom. I used to love that.
Yeah, the Alpha
Stalkers games. Street Fighter Alpha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I played Grandia.
Yeah, Grandia was a big one.
What that was. I didn't know it was a JRPG at the time.
Xenogears is the other one everybody swears by.
Yeah, I'm the only
I played that on PS2.
I'm probably the only person on the planet who thinks that game absolutely sucks. I hate that game. Yeah. That's the only game that I've actually. That's one of the games that I sold back not far after I played it for a while. I'm like, I got like a shitload of hours, and I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere. I'm like, I got to the stupid desert town. I'm like, when the fuck is something gonna happen?
What else? Even though then you had the other Final Fantasy games, 8 and 9. I know you really like 9, Manny.
Yeah, 9 is a really great one. It's also an underestimated Final Fantasy game because that came right at the cusp of the Sega Dreamcast, and I think that's probably one of the more beloved one, but it's not, of course, like everybody loves for some reason in 8, which I don't like at all.
8, I hated 8.
8, man. 8 would have been
problems.
Yeah, I had problems with 8. I would have liked it if they didn't have the whole magic bullshit where you have to draw magic. So you're there for like 3 hours fighting these little shitty enemies just to suck up their water or something.
I just hated the character. Like, I hated friggin' Squall. He was such a dick. It's like, hey, Squall, I'm dying. Whatever. I don't care.
I hated Squall. I hated the leveling system that everything leveled up with you.
Yeah, I hated that.
So I'd be like, I'm still dying in the stupid training area.
Like, yeah, you fight that stupid
dinosaur.
Yeah,
because for me, I was like, oh man, I get to fight this Tyrannosaurus Rex. I'm gonna get a lot of levels for this, and I did after I beat it. But then it's like, why does this thing seem like it's getting harder?
Yeah, I hated that, the whole scaling shit.
And taking those exams just so you could keep your rank up, so you could get
your money flowing.
Salary. Yeah, I was like, this is so stupid. You kill enemies, you get gil. Now they change it like, no, you get paid. You better wait till payday. I'd be like running around waiting for the freaking thing so I could buy items. I'm like, I need some Phoenix downs. Let me just run around till I get paid.
Yeah, changing the gears a little bit. Fighting games, that game introduced a lot of 3D fighting games. Battle Royale Toshinden, which hasn't made a comeback.
No, that's one of those. That's one of those. You know what? After the second one, it just kind of lost its luster. It was one of the first weapon fighting games.
Yeah, like Soul Calibur.
Before Soul Calibur or Soul Blade.
Soul Blade is
Soul Edge.
Yeah, Soul. Those games are still around, right? But Battle Royale Toshinden, gone, man.
Yeah.
Tekken was still around too,
Tekken's kind of like Tekken's still around, but it's kind of slowed it up a little bit. I think at this point, for a lot of those big franchises, like the fighting games, like Soul Blade or Soul Calibur, they kind of reached that cusp of like they just pretty much perfected their engine, and they just they can't get any better. Maybe add a couple more characters.
Remember Bloody Roar?
Yeah, Bloody Roar was a great game. It was essentially fighting vipers, though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, basically. What else?
Darkstalkers.
Yep, Darkstalkers. I mentioned that earlier. Really, a really good game. Though it did get a bit gimped on the PlayStation.
Yeah, it looks better on Saturn, though.
It does, yeah. Because also, not only that is that Saturn also got the Night Warriors, which was the one that had all the extra characters.
Yeah, that's funny you mentioned that because the Symphony of the Night on Saturn was actually had more content on it. Mm-hmm. They actually had another playable character.
Yeah, because it's the ultimate 2D system. That's why.
Yeah, but that game didn't. They said that game didn't look that good on there. And it's also, by the way, for you game collector fans, that is a very rare game, and it is worth a lot of money. The Symphony of the Night made for the Sega Saturn.
I think Torrance has that. I think I talked to him about it one time.
If he has it, then he's got some serious money right there because that one is super rare.
Yeah, he has a crazy collection.
But yeah, did you guys get into any Japanese importing with the PlayStation back then?
Well, you had to do that little goofy trick with the spring on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I did that. I had the Pro Action Replay with the spring, and I would swap. I used to get the Dragon Ball games.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Yeah.
I used to get those. One game I gotta mention is Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
Yeah, that was a big one.
I gotta show that game love. I spent tons of hours on that game playing as Spider-Man.
Didn't they have a proper Spider-Man game for PlayStation as well?
Yeah, it was made by the same guys.
Yeah.
But of course, if you had a Dreamcast, you had the better version of that Spider-Man game.
Yes. And PlayStation lasted a long time.
Yeah. It was a longer system, a long system.
Silent Hill came out on it.
Oh, Silent Hill. Oh, so good, man. That was just messing with your head every second.
I think it was really amazing about the Silent Hill games is until that time it's what was the game that was the horror game? Oh, Resident Evil. So this game has got to be like Resident Evil, right? No, not at all.
No. That was more like Japanese horror than Resident Evil. Resident Evil was more like their interpretation of our horror.
Yeah.
And then Silent Hill was their horror. It's messing with your mind. Oh, you don't know what's real or what's going on.
There was a lot of great games on the PS1.
Yeah, man. So yeah, it's cool that everyone's talking about it now. And I actually want to pick up that controller too, the white one.
Yeah,
pretty
pick up
cool.
the gray controller.
Legacy of Khan. Yeah, I forgot that one.
Oh, Legacy of
Kane.
Legacy of Kane.
We were just talking about that beforehand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I never played that one.
Yeah, I
Legacy
played
I'm
the
gonna check it out.
Legacy
I'm
of
gonna
Kane.
check that out.
Both Legacy of Kane games, Soul Reaver and the original one, are worth playing. Because like
Okay.
the first one is a little bit like a dungeon crawler, kind of an RPG.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
Diablo.
It looks like Diablo and stuff like that.
Amy
and
Hennig, Hennig wrote that, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah.
Amy Hennig.
Oh, really?
Yep. Go ahead, Manny. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say Amy Hennig.
Yeah, Amy Hennig, man. She, that was one of her big games, and it shows. The dialogue was really, really good in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Legacy of Kane, man.
Legacy
Bring
of
it
Kane,
back, please.
Soul Reaver with its total. Talk about a game that totally went against the original. What the original did, like Legacy of Kane and Legacy of Kane, Soul Reaver, and the original Legacy of Kane. Two totally different games. The only similarity they have is that Kane is in both games. That's it.
Yeah.
They totally redesigned everything, and they turned it into this kind of Metroidvania action game as opposed to kind of like a top-down RPG, like dungeon crawling RPG.
Well, I mean, they turned it into like a big sprawling. Like, to me, I'm like, oh, this is like a eviler version of a Tomb Raider, which was also another huge game on the
PlayStation.
Yeah.
But that's. Yeah, but that's what it seemed like to me. Like, they just okay, let's make a gigantic action adventure game, which is fine by me because that's my favorite genre. But that game, I didn't play it. Obviously, I played it on the Dreamcast. I'm like, my mind destroyed.
It looked
that's
pretty
another
on the Dreamcast,
awesome.
by the way.
It looked good, man. It looked good.
Which, by the way, at that RetroCon, Michael Bell is going to be there. So I'm like, I'm gonna see if I can get my Dreamcast edition of Soul Reaver signed by him.
All right. I guess we said everything we need to say about the PlayStation. So obviously very cool.
Dude, Chris, if you still lived here, I would have friggin' brought. Oh, if you still had Sword of the Berserk, I would have given that to him. Be like, yo, man, your guts.
That's right. He was Guts.
He was the original Guts.
I still have that. Yeah, I have the Dreamcast Sword of the Berserk, man.
I'm gonna say this: how is it that the video game edition of Sword of the Berserk or Berserk has a better voice cast than the actual anime does? They had friggin' Michael Bell as Guts. They had Cam Clark, the guy who plays Liquid Snake. He's playing Puck. Asuka was played by another really famous voice actress. So.
That's funny.
Did we hit everything? Oh, I forgot about Tenchu.
Oh, yeah, Tenchu, yes, right, yeah.
Which is your boys from Software.
Yeah, Tenchu was good, man.
I really want them to make a next gen. See, I really want them to make a next gen Tenchu Ninja type.
Yes.
I was hoping that Metal Gear Revengeance would be that, where you're playing this awesome stealthy cyborg ninja guy. Nah, it's really just beat the fuck out of everything. The game.
Oh yeah, let's talk. Oh, go ahead, Chris, because I got something else to say.
Only one more thing, because we mentioned the fighting games that are that never came. You mentioned Ballerina Toshi. Then I was thinking of Rival Schools.
Rival Schools.
That was a great game on PlayStation, and I was like, "Where is that, Capcom?"
That's a really great game too.
Yeah, that was fun.
Capcom need to start making some of the other fighting games that they got under their belts.
It's like, you guys want Street Fighter? How about more Street Fighter?
How about some Street Fighter EX? Oh, wait a minute. Street Fighter EX is the main Street Fighter game now.
By the way, because obviously there was a ton of JRPGs. What are some of your favorite hidden ones? Because I had a lot of JRPGs and a lot of people talk about it. Didn't Star Ocean start on PlayStation? I think it did.
Star Ocean was on there.
Star Ocean. Suikoden started on PlayStation.
Yeah.
Legend
Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Cross was on.
Chrono Cross, yeah.
Valkyrie Profile.
Yeah.
Vagrant Story. That was
that's
good.
That's one that should come.
Yes.
That one should come back, or at least get a nicer, fixed up version.
Yeah, because it kind of had that Parasite Eve kind of combat system where that top-down dome thing, which was weird.
That's the game that made me notice the art of what's his name, Manny?
I can't remember.
You know what I'm talking about, though. That guy.
Yeah, the guy who does the guy who did the game for the DS, the one that everybody's something.
Oh yeah. Bravely Default.
Bravely Default is his game. Yeah.
Final Fantasy
really?
12. Yeah.
This is it's the same designer as Bravely Default did that game.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 12. He did the art for that.
He also did Tactics.
Tactics, that's right. Yeah, that guy had really good art song. And Vagrant Story was the first. I'm like, oh, because the game looked like the most like his art. It was really cool.
I think that's kind of cool when they, because you had to kind of be creative with those sorts of older games. Like you could try to do really realistic things, but I feel like, being the limitations of the hardware, they had to kind of be a little more creative. Now you can make everybody incredibly realistic looking, but I still feel like they nowadays they can make really cool stylized games and it not.
Yeah, I wish it'd be more of that.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not talking about PlayStation, 1, but I mean games like Okami where it's just like it's the style of the game. That's what it is.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see a lot of that, and then that goes back to the whole thing. It's like limitations force you to be more creative.
Oh yeah, with what you had, definitely.
Yeah, but yeah, that machine had a lot of fun. Like if you just loved RPGs, that was your system. And that was, in a way, the PlayStation 1. I guess you could call that maybe the last like big hurrah JRPGs had. Like obviously, PS2 had a lot of great RPGs too, but I think maybe the golden age was around that Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1 era.
Yeah, that's for JRPGs. Everything got started.
I think also, because in the old days you could develop an RPG and not have an incredibly huge 100-man team to make the game.
Yeah, Final Fantasy started that, I guess, with 7,
Yeah, once 7 came along, it's like, okay, so now we have to raise the bar. So what do we do now? Okay, well, now we created this company that does CG,
Yeah, but the interesting thing is, because of Final Fantasy 7, that's why that machine eventually started getting so many JRPGs.
Yeah.
Because the genre just blew up, back then, and PlayStation 1 was definitely the home of that. And it's also why, till this day, people who like JRPGs flock to PlayStation systems.
Yeah.
They know.
Well, I mean, also it has like the direct line in Japan. What do they have? Like, what other consoles?
Yeah.
Have,
Exactly.
Well, also we're gonna get a resurgence since they're gonna port all those
PS4
games. Yeah, I was like, I love it because that's like a resurgence of that because PS4 is doing so well here. They port more stuff to us. So that's
cool. I want all the crazy Japanese games.
Riku wants them too, man.
Yeah, I love them. They are nice. They give you a nice little break between all the open world or hyper realistic games. Sometimes I just like playing crazy nonsense.
Yeah, you don't get too much of that, man. All right. So yeah, I think we covered PlayStation. So there you go. We were supposed to have a segment where Brett was going to tell us his story about art, but Brett's not here because of thunderstorms.
I will tell you the legend of Brett. A long time ago, in a land of dinosaurs, a man grew to power.
Oh, really? You almost bought Ark?
Yeah. But then I realized Metal Gear was coming out in a couple weeks, and I was like, no reason.
Exactly. Metal Gear's all you need, man. That's all you need. All right, so since we're not here, we will just move on to some news stuff. Not another slow-ass week.
Wait. I still have to get one more thing. My master. Okay.
All right. Let's, as usual, it's the beginning of the month, so let's talk about NPDs.
Yo, man, where's your video?
What?
Yeah, you're broke. Yeah, you became a black.
There you are.
Oh, am I back? Was I gone? Oh shit! I don't know.
You're gone. You're a black
screen. When you talk, you gone.
Was I still talking?
Yeah, you're still talking.
Yeah, you're audio.
This is some bullshit. Anyway, let's talk about some NPDs. It's August, so the #1 game was obviously Madden NFL 16. I love how these Madden guys just come out of the woodwork. They just snatch up this game and then they go back and don't come back until next year.
It doesn't even matter if the damn games are any good, just as long as it's sports game and it's called Madden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know guys that are like, I don't even like these games, but everybody's buying them, so I have to. It's like, no, you don't. You have a
Metal Gear.
Go buy Metal Gear. All right, so I'm just gonna run down them. Oh, actually, before I run down the thing, so basically, I think overall the sales dropped by 2% for the industry, and analysts are attributing it to the fact that last-gen systems aren't selling that well. Like, they dropped off by 50%, but they're like, if you take all those numbers away from last-gen, we're actually on a really good rise. Like new systems keep selling like crazy.
Yeah.
And PS4 obviously is leading the charge there. But PS4 isn't giving out their numbers anymore like they used to.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. They're winning, but they're not giving out their numbers like they used to. But let's get through this. So number 1 is Madden. Number 2, Minecraft.
Nice.
Here's a surprising one to me. Number 3, Gears of War Ultimate Edition.
There you go.
I'm surprised by that.
Hey, listen,
Really?
you can't go against that, man.
Yeah,
People love Gears.
People love Gears, I guess.
Yeah, I want it.
Metal Gear, right?
Yep.
But I guess I underestimated the Gears fans. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Well, Gears of War 1 was pretty fun.
Yeah,
I'm into that game.
I said the same thing the last show. Remember, I said I had a choice. I pre-ordered Metal Gear. I could get Metal Gear or Gears of War. I chose Metal Gear.
Yep.
That's it.
Wisely.
Not according to Zinc, I didn't. But
okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't care. I love Metal Gear, so it was an easy choice for me. I'll play Gears another time. Like, it's gonna be there.
If you played that shit already,
Wait, here's the thing.
I did. I played all of them already.
Here's the thing. You have the choice between a game that's 10 years old,
yeah,
right?
Literally,
and
Almost.
a new game. I'd go for the new game.
Well,
the new hotness, Metal Gear, man.
I want to stick a little jab in there. That Zinc pointed out that of course, Gears Ultimate running at 1080p, 60 frames a second, and I'll give it a small golf clap that Microsoft was able to pull that off with a decade-old game. So thank you, thank you for that.
All right, Gears. People love Gears, I guess.
Oh yeah.
And then the thing is, obviously because of the kind of meh reviews it got, but I guess people don't give a fuck about that.
No.
The next one, number 4, big, huge surprise. Grand Theft Auto 5. Lego Jurassic World, another not surprise there. Here's one, Rare Replay, number 6.
Nice.
Oh, I did get Rare Replay also, and it's fun. It's very fun.
I want to get it solely for Jet Force Gemini. That's the only game I want out of the whole bundle. They don't have my Donkey Kong, so
I'll tell. Yeah, I played RC Prime on there, but I'll tell you, those old ZX Spectrum games like Saberwolf and Knight's Lore, they're freaking hard, man. I don't even know what to do. Like, it's really in this 3-point perspective, you can't tell where you're jumping to or what you're supposed to do. They are so hard. I don't know how anybody played those games. Even as an old school gamer, I'm like, I don't think I'd be into this. Even if I was younger, I wouldn't play that. But it's nice that it's all there. You see the history,
Yeah, exactly. It's important.
Yeah, and I played Perfect Dark again. That was pretty good.
Oh, you selected it?
Yeah, I mean, it aged rough, but they kind of HD'd it up a little bit. But it's still fun. I mean, it was born from GoldenEye. Same guys made it.
Didn't they already kind of HD up the game for Xbox Live?
Yes, yeah, it's for Xbox. So it's that version on the Rare Replay, but it's not like the N64 version. If you look at it, it's kind of janky.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea for them to
Nintendo lost, by the way. Rare.
Oh man! All right.
I had to throw that in there.
Of course.
You mean the guys that just make avatars?
The number 7 game, the only new IP on the list, Until Dawn.
I'm very, that game. It's an interesting thing about it. This game is getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, we gave it a perfect 100 on the Coalition.
That is very cool.
Yeah,
I found it interesting. I didn't pick it up or anything, but everything I heard has been good.
Yeah, I
might pick it up when the price dropped.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna pick it up, but Metal Gear.
I was thinking about it, but at the same time, I kind of didn't want to play another one of those types of games. I feel like I just played, Beyond Two Souls. So, but yeah, I mean, definitely interesting. I mean, I might eventually pick it up.
Yeah, I think that'll be a good refresher game because every game I've been playing is just so huge and open.
Here's the thing. That's a good rest game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because that game is about maybe 6 or 7 hours. To complete the initial campaign in the game. So, yeah, I mean.
But I'm gonna try to get that platinum though.
It's not a hard platinum. It's actually
That's what I'm saying.
It's actually the one of it reward. You play it over. You kill everybody. You don't kill everybody.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Kind of like the way. Well, no, just exactly how the way Heavy Rain was, where it's like you pick one. Like you kill everybody. You don't kill everybody. You don't find the killer. You do find the killer. Crazy. I think Tony just.
I'm surprised about the next one on the list.
Can we talk about that right now, please? Like
Black
Call of Duty
Ops combo pack.
What the fuck is this shit?
It's
Black Ops or what?
I'm gonna say
1.
Wait, 1 and 2? That's it?
And that's only on 360 and PS3.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that shit? Like, come on, guys, really? There's another Call of Duty game too. Modern Advanced Warfare is on this.
Well, is that some kind of like radiant effect of Call of Duty? Has it become so big that just the anticipation of the new game is causing people to buy the old games? Like, I don't understand it. Like, I'm looking at it, and even these numbers, I don't understand how this is possible. It's like,
I definitely
think people just go in the store and say, "Yo, man, is the new Call of Duty out?" And they're just like, "Yeah, it is. Get this one."
The combo.
If these sales, I imagine if it was all just GameStop lying to people.
But the crazy thing is, it literally says PS3 and Xbox 360.
Yeah, that's what.
Let me add. There are more PlayStation 3s and Xboxes out there.
Yes, and Call of Duty fans are crazy. So.
Yeah, Call of Duty fans are.
Yeah, there's two problems that I have with it. First is that it's on this list, but secondly that it's over Batman.
Yeah, Batman's right there in the middle of them, number 9. It's like
sandwich between the two old Call of Duty games.
Yeah. Oh man, people are insane. But there you go. There's your NPD numbers and stuff. I think from now on is when the numbers going to. Obviously, we don't know game's going to be number 1 next month, man. For September, Metal Gear's fucking destroying everything. It's not even us saying this as fans. It's just the truth. Plus, there's nothing else out right now. So but October, November.
You could say
Mad Max.
You could say Mad Max is out, but
yeah,
I feel bad for Mad Max.
I've been saying that. I'm like, bad day to come out.
Yeah,
I mean,
horrible day to come out.
It's a good day for it to come out because the Mad Max Fury Road movie came out on that same day. So the same day that the game dropped, the movie dropped.
Right, but see, they're in their like that's in their sales zone, but in the sales zone of video games, how are you gonna launch in the shadow of Metal Gear, right?
You don't.
They should have thinking of the movie.
They should have saw that. But here's the thing, I went to like a Best Buy not long ago, and like they were sold out of Mad Max, like not the game, but the movie.
Nice, yeah, because the movie's fucking awesome.
Those were empty.
The movie's great. Like the movie's
the movie is awesome.
You know, I can't argue with that. It's just that looking at the release schedule, like I know there's some studio pressure, and Warner Bros. Is like, this game has to come out with this movie. Yeah, but boss, Metal Gear is coming out the same day.
They're like, what's Metal Gear?
Yeah, exactly. Well, the movie guys don't know. They're like, what is that?
They're like, what's a Metal Gear?
Yeah, it's like if they would have released it 2 weeks earlier, it would have been fine. Nothing was coming out in August.
That would have been a perfect point. Like, in fact, Until Dawn came out at a good point too. It didn't come out. They knew that Metal Gear was coming.
Yeah.
So it literally came out maybe a week or two before Metal Gear came out.
Yeah, exactly. But you're right about that. Hollywood people don't think about that shit. It's like, yo, you realize Metal Gear's coming out that way. What's a metal? I don't know what that is. Put it out with the movie. Idiots.
Which, by the way, to Mad Max's defense, it is a cool game. It's a lot of the car combat's actually really well done. The fighting in the game is actually, a lot of people complain about it being simple, but like I swear, like Max is fucking brutal. Like it's just like he'll punch somebody in the face, and the animation's really well done in the game. It really feels like he's punching somebody really hard. And then when you get you get him into like one of those kind of crazy kind of holds, and he breaks their arm off. He doesn't break their arm off, but breaks their arm.
That's pretty fun.
Or he does like a cool move where he stabs him in the top of the head with a friggin' shiv.
Oh man.
So it's a well done. I mean, there are some graphical issues that some issues like as far as like certain things like disappearing and stuff like that. But other than that, it's a well done game, and I hope that it at least at some point gets what it deserves because it's a good job by those guys. They didn't put out a shit game.
Yeah, another good game by Warner Brothers, man.
Warner Brothers and the guys that make Just Cause. I mean, those guys know cause.
Later this year, in December.
Yeah, right. Oh man. All right, so that's the NPD. So let's finish things off here with the Apple event, which happened this weekend. Everybody went crazy.
Whoa, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, Chris, tell us about this, man.
New iPad.
I saw some crazy shit. I'm like, they're bringing back the Wiimote. Like, what?
I think the biggest thing they had at the show, honestly, was their update of Apple TV. So Apple TV is just going to have more robust hardware, and it has like this new remote that has a touchpad on it, and it has a gyroscope in it, so you could use it as a motion, a motion control, and play games that way through the Apple TV. And I guess anything you could play on your iPhone will work on the Apple TV.
It's a smart move.
Yeah, I just don't understand like why if they have the Touch ID thing in the phone to pay for stuff, why they didn't integrate it into the Apple TV? Like I didn't hear anything about that. So that's interesting. But they'll probably have it with the iPhone 7 because, I don't know. Apple always seems like a day late and a dollar short with their ideas, even though their shit is ultra expensive. So they announced a new iPad, the iPad Pro, which is like, I think, a 12.6-inch screen. And, I don't know. I didn't see any bells and whistles on this thing. Like,
it's just thinner.
Yeah, well, it's thin, but the iPad Air was already thin, so it's not much more except that it's big, and it snaps into a keyboard which it comes with, but it's also super expensive. The base one is $800.
Ugh.
Wow.
And I'm saying like, and there's guys
Apple,
comparing it to the Surface. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. The Surface right now runs full Windows, which means you can run full apps like Photoshop or whatever. iPad doesn't do that. So no. I wouldn't make that comparison. It's not a tablet running OS 10. It's a tablet running iOS and iOS app. So let's be real about that. And also, I don't get the logic of making a bigger, more expensive iPad when the iPad hasn't been selling well. Yeah. I don't see the logic in that. It's like, well, we'll just make a bigger, pricier one and everybody will want it. Okay, let's see how that works out. They made a fancy Apple Watch with a leather band, so whoop-de-doo.
They made it with a leather band, which you could obviously just, I don't know, pay a little bit of money and actually have a leather band for your iWatch.
So those Apple Watches are ridiculous. The phone gets a slight update. As you can see, I'm kind of like, yay. Because I just feel like it's the same shit, different day with them. They're always like, we have the most advanced, fast, best iPhone ever made. Of course, that's what you say every freaking year.
Yeah, they want to say the opposite. Our iPhone is not that good this year. It's actually just a little bit better than last year. They're not going to say that shit.
No, and it is like the S and the S Plus upgrades are always incremental, right? It gets a better camera. It has a little better processor in it. But those Apple CPUs, why they don't give you specs on it? Because they're always weak. So they got a less weak processor than they had last time, and it has this 3D touch thing. So apparently you can now on iOS 9 you can touch an app like an icon and get a brief description of what's going on, or you could push down harder and get more information. I don't know how that's going to work. I haven't tried it myself.
It has a touch-sensitive screen.
Yes, it's pressure-sensitive now. And the apps respond to it. But I don't know what that means in terms of like drawing and stuff. I just know with the apps it's some interaction where you can push down harder on the screen. But I think that's going to be confusing for people in the long run, because people are not going to know the difference between pushing harder and holding down something longer. There's a difference, right? Apple expects you to know that. So it's going to be weird. And it has a nice camera, and it can shoot 4K video, which is nice. So the main complaint, which I agree with some other guys who have said this, like, why do you still have a 16 gig version of the phones if people can now shoot 4K video and take these enormous images with a 12 megapixel camera? You'll run out of space in like 2 seconds. So they having like this light version of the phone is just dumb, and and you can't solve it with like, oh, just use iCloud. Yeah, so all your pictures can get stolen half the time, right? It's like, ridiculous.
Don't post
like,
your nude pics, man.
yeah, and I mean, and the prices, and the new thing with the 2-year contract plan through Apple, so you can go to Apple and say, well, I'm on Verizon, whatever, pay Apple, and they pay them a monthly fee for the phone, so they're doing kind of this phone subsidizing. But the kicker for it is like they make money on that both ends, because after you get a new phone every year, right? So you have to give them your phone. So when the 6S thing is done, you pay your $42 a month to have your phone, and the iPhone 7 comes out next year, and you go, here, I want the new one, and you get it. So they can resell your phone. They're getting money on you anyway. It's like it works out better for them. It doesn't work out better for you. If you keep your phone for a couple of years, don't do that. Just buy the phone, you know? It's a good deal for them. That's why they're doing it. And I just and iOS 9, the 3D touch stuff. There's like I don't know why people make a big deal about emojis now. I'm like, emoticons have been around forever, so that you have more ways not to type is nice. I don't know. Like, is that what you want? Okay, so good. You have more ways not to communicate with the English language. Apple has given that to you.
Yep.
This is what I've given you.
So overall, I didn't see anything to really be excited, except the Apple TV looked cool. That stuff looked cool, but the phone, whatever, it's like, oh, you made it out of stronger aluminum. Good for you. So it doesn't bend.
So it doesn't bend.
It doesn't bend. Yeah.
Yeah, and the iPad Pro makes no sense because you're not going to compete with on the level of like the Surface or whatever, because it's still iOS at the end of the day. It's not running full applications, so it's not. You can't compare. Like, oh, it's like a Surface. No, it's not. Because Surface is running Windows, like full Windows, and this is not running full OS 10. If it was, I would say, wow, that's really something. And it's not. It's just a bigger iPad. So, and it's way more expensive. So if you buy it, I think you're a sucker for getting that.
Dude, I literally saw people on my Twitter, I am not lying, going, like, just take my money. I'm throwing money at my screen. I'm like, what, you fucking idiot?
Yeah,
like,
get a Surface.
Yeah. They just get people like frenzies and riled up. I'm like, with what? Like you introduce these incremental upgrades. So it's like, oh, it's a 12-megapixel camera, and they always make their condescending remarks to Android. It's like, yeah, very good. You want people to move from Android over to you, and it's like, whatever. It's and it's like people get Android for a reason, maybe because they don't want to get fleeced.
Yeah, exactly.
People invest in a Samsung or something because you're fleecing everybody, and this new program where you're paying monthly, that's a new way to just get money from people and get their phone on top of that so you can resell it for a profit. So I don't see the benefit in that program except for them.
I don't understand the whole cult of personality Apple has built, man. That's the shit that gets me. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, what is it about this company that makes these people just rabid like that? You know?
I don't know. And it also like from the art community, like for some reason they somehow a lot of artists believe that Apple products are the best things for artists, which they are not. It's not about the platform that you're using. It's about the programs. And for a lot of for a while, yes, Photoshop was only on Apple products. That's a long time ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
But they still think of it that way, They still remember that shit.
Like, they run better on Apple. No, they don't. In fact, they.
And I can understand, like, if you prefer their ecosystem, if you prefer OS 10, like, if you like how it is and it's easier for you to use, then that's a valid reason. But don't tell me, like, oh, this is better than a PC because A, B, C, D. Great. So go spend $1,000 or more more because you think you're getting a better deal and you're not. So that's fine. Go do that. But just know that you're wrong. If you truly need that system and you truly feel like, okay, I could work best in this environment, I like this environment, that is a valid reason. I totally support that. But if you say, well, this is better than a PC because Apple does that, oh, you're an idiot. Whatever.
It's better than PC because it's Apple. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Dumbasses. All right, I think we pretty much covered everything. So one last thing here. I want to talk about Other Zinc's Silent Challenge. We almost forgot about this, but thank you, Fern Gully, for bringing this back to our attention. So, Other Zinc, he's been going around saying that Halo 5 is going to sell 7 million copies this year, which is completely fucking ridiculous. With the last Halo game, actually, what was it? I think it was Callum. He works for our site. He said the best-selling Halo game till this date has sold 6-point-something million. So, and that's on 360 and shit, right? Which has a huge install base. So
really, that's it? That sounds low.
So you're gonna tell me the Xbox, which has a 10 million install base at most, is gonna sell 7 million copies of fucking Halo? It's not gonna happen. So he says if the game doesn't sell what he predicts, he's gonna be silent for a month in the message boards. We're gonna hold you to that, other thing. We better not see you in there because you're gonna be silent, dude. I'm just telling you right now. No fucking way. We talked about this shit last week. This game's gonna sell 4 million at most. I say 3 million at most. It's not selling. In its lifetime, yeah, probably it'll probably sell 7 million. But 3 months, no fucking way, dude. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
No fucking way.
You're talking about 3 months.
3 months. He said this is Randall. I don't know if you read this, but he says in the first month it's gonna sell 3 million. The first month. Second month, 2 million. Next month, 2 million. Total 7. That's crazy town.
Yeah,
that is insanity town. That's not happening, dude. I know you have quote unquote business acumen, as I call it. No, dude, it's not happening. So I expect you to be silent for a month because it ain't happening, dude. No fucking way,
I mean,
man.
Didn't Halo 4 only sell 6 million?
That's what I'm saying. That's the best-selling Halo game of all time, and it sold 6 million in its entire life. You're gonna tell me Halo 5, a game that's not even made by fucking Bungie, is gonna sell more? No, on a system that only has 10 million people on it, it is not happening, dude. Attach rates don't work like that.
No, they don't. And the best-selling Halo game was Reach, and that was the last one that Bungie made.
He's literally saying that this game is gonna have a.
Yeah, that's like saying 90% of the people in North America who own an Xbox are gonna buy Halo in the first 3 months. That's insane.
Yeah, he's literally saying this game's gonna have a higher attach rate than Grand Theft Auto. Which had a 50% attach rate over multiple consoles. This is just one console.
But this has to have like an 85 to 90% attach rate. That's nuts.
That's
like
impossible.
That in North America, right? Because really, I'm sure there's some in Europe, but not in Japan. Halo's not going to really sell well. Really, in North America, that's where Halo's going to sell well.
Well,
not that well.
Yeah, he's saying that he's only counting American sales.
Oh, there's 7 million in America?
Just 7 million in America.
Crazy.
No way. No way.
All right, man.
You wouldn't even get to 3 million if you only count in America.
We're gonna miss you, other Zinc, for a month, because dude, you're gonna lose horribly, man. No fucking way, just selling that much.
Unless you personally pre-ordered 4 million copies yourself, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, oh, man. All right, so that's it right there, man. So once again, Randall, thank you for being on at the last minute too.
Oh, no problem.
Are you comfortable with podcasts now?
Yeah, a little bit.
Nice.
See, I always like having you on because you're very well spoken. You understand how a podcast works, you know.
I listen to enough of them. I should.
Yeah, it ain't that hard, man. It ain't that hard. All right. So again, want to win that Metal Gear code for PC? Just tell us what your favorite Metal Gear games in the comments on I always keep saying Facebook, not fuck Facebook, on YouTube or on the Coalition. Either one, we don't care. We'll pick somebody random and we'll announce it on Throwdown Your Questions, which Manny, you will not be at because of the convention.
I'm going to be heading over to RetroCon in Philadelphia. Some of the folks that are going to be there are like Michael Bell, the voice of Duke from G.I. Joe.
Yes.
The guy who played Psycho Mantis. Both Nostalgia Critic and Angry Video Game Nerd.
I'm telling you, man, talk to those guys. See if we can get them on the show.
I would like to see. Yeah, let's see if we can get them on at least one of them on the show. I don't know, it'd be cool, right?
Yeah, why not?
Angry Video Game Nerd. Ask him if he likes any new games. Because he only reviews like games that are like 20, 25, 20 years old, or 27 years, or 30 years old. So.
That sounds like fun.
It should be fun, and I'm gonna be a total fanboy. I'm gonna bring some shit to get signed.
Yes. So. Yeah, you're not going there to work, are you? You're just doing it there for fun.
Hell no, I ain't gonna be working. I did my work. Which is, I mean, if you guys have been following my Twitter, I've been putting together my little Metal Gear art art, like all of my Metal Gear art into like an art book. So that is looking like it's going to be ready, but in time for New York Comic Con. So I'll have it there. Maybe I'll post a video and flip through it, and on YouTube, so you guys could get a little preview as to what it might look like, what it will look like, and yeah, 103 pages.
Crazy.
There's 103 pages of artwork of Metal Gear artwork that I've drawn, and it's from all. Pretty much from not from the beginning, but from for a while, just me drawing random stuff on my sketchbook, stuff that I've drawn, finished pieces, the stuff I've been posting on Twitter, everything, pretty much.
I love the fact that the only thing that's keeping you from playing Metal Gear Solid 5 is Metal Gear.
Was actually me. It was actually me putting the final touches on the book. Was actually that. The reason it's funny because I got Metal Gear. Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain on the day of, 12 o'clock in the morning, and I played it for a while. I did it for like a few days, and I said, "All right, got to get back to the book. This is not going to get done if I go full into Metal Gear world."
Yeah, exactly. But now you can a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I mean, I left off at a good point. Like I had gotten, I got D-Dog right away. I was pretty much messing with a lot of the side ops. So I just was playing side ops a lot. So I have all this money, all this GMP from doing all those extra things. So when I started getting into the game, I was already at the I was like at the maybe 4th mission, and I already had the sneaking suit and everything.
Yeah, I know. With me, I think it was like 20 or 25 hours before I realized, I could develop shit. Like I had 5 million GMP, and I went crazy.
Yeah.
You get it so fast, and it goes even quicker.
Yeah, I even for the beginning, I actually started off because when you first get in there, you transfer over your save from Ground Zeroes, and then it instantly gives you the Ground Zero suit. So for a while, I was just running around in the Peace Walker Ground Zeroes sneaking suit, which is really good. And then not long after that, I'm like, oh well, time to switch to the new one. Oh wait a minute, it's not good in the desert because I'm a guy in black in an orange desert.
Yes.
So everybody can still see me.
I spent so much. I was negative 15,000 GMP.
Oh,
so
man.
Then you probably saw the fight scene on Mother Base.
Nope.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Okay.
That happens later.
Whenever your GMP dips over a certain point, head over to Mother Base, and then you see that fight where Snake gets stabbed in the chest and stuff.
I think that may be a spoiler, Manny.
No, it's not a spoiler.
Oh, I definitely didn't know about it, but I'm happy you told me.
It's in the fucking trailer. It's not a spoiler. It's not even story related. Because listen, you can go there. The thing about Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain is that you can go through the game and not see certain cinematics and certain things. That's true.
Because I heard something happen if you have Big Boss smoke that Phantom cigar for so long, he gets stinky. If you got Quiet Witch and something happen. I haven't tried it yet, but I heard that it's a cutscene that happens.
Yeah, I know some of my guys got mad at me because the thing is, remember, you're just out in the field smoking. They're like, boss, when you do that, we have nothing to do back home.
Yeah, so there's things like that. Like there's also something specific that happens on your birthday.
Yeah, Malik, he tweeted out that everybody on something happened in the game on his birthday, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I totally forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, but it took. Oh yeah, that's what it was. The lowest I got was 500,000 in the red, man. Because there was this one boss battle that was fucking up. I'm just having supply drops and shit, and I'm like picking up like everything I can, So I'm like 500,000 in the red. I'm like, fuck, man, it was ridiculous. Oh man, Metal Gear. All right, let's wrap this shit up. So thank you for watching and listening. Be sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Throwdown Show and on Facebook. Links are available in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
Metal Gear, it can't be.
Hey, what is that? I want that.
Oh, you didn't see this?
Oh,
What
you
is
gotta
that?
describe it again, dude.
Ah,
Yeah, he
so,
described it for us. That was all
So-
clear.
yes, because you were out. You went away for a bit. What this is the European Steelbook case.
Yo, man, that shit look good. Shinkawa
Yeah, it's
art.
actually really nice.
Nice.
It has on the cover, it's got Big Boss, with his arm, drawn by Shinkawa. In the inside of it, it's got Big
Badass.
Boss with his gun, and then on the back, it's got a Diamond Dogs logo. This thing was like a pre-order bonus for those of people in Europe who got Metal Gear, the new Metal Gear game. Unfortunately,
Nigga, you ain't European. How you get that?
Unfortunately, in the United States, we didn't get that. We got this, which is just the steelbook case with the licensing artwork
really?
in it, and inside is the special spoiler, version of the making of Metal Gear, which is cool. Which is cool for this, but I feel like, come on, guys.
Yeah, that's better.
Seriously, should have released the steelbook case for the actual game, or at least even the Japanese got a reversible cover.
No,
like
dude,
the way
that's
a
very Japanese thing. That used to happen with Nintendo too, where we could only use the licensing art, and they would just do crazy shit with theirs.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, granted, there are some versions, like Metal Gear Solid 4. When you got the special edition, you got that really great case that had Shinkawa's art on it. That's cool. Even with Ground Zeroes. Granted, there was no special edition. That's fine. But when you reverse the cover, you could actually get a really nice Shinkawa piece. And they should have had that in there at least. So
yeah, when I
bought this for $11 from somebody in Europe.
Nice. Yeah, when I fucking open up my Metal Gear Solid 5, I'm expecting a cool art like Ground Zeroes.
Nope, it's controls.
Fuck out of here with that.
It's all
Yeah.
controls.
So, all right, yeah. Go ahead.
So yeah, that's what I did, mate.
Nice. Right, Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
And Randil Hines.
See y'all later, everybody.
All right, guys. Later.
See you guys.
Peace.